Welcome to Seeing Dead People, the mystery storytelling podcast with a clairvoyant twist. We end every episode with Darcy answering a question from a listener about her psychic process. Whatever is going on in her head, I think it's so cool and astonishing. Trust me, you're going to have your own questions. Now, before I let you go, I've got another listener's question if you're game.
Sure.
And I think it's going to suit today's episode perfectly because Debbie asks, how do you translate not just the broad strokes, but the nuances of different cultures and languages so that you're understanding them correctly?
Well, I'd love to say it's body language, but since everyone's dead that I'm talking to, it's not body language, but it's very similar because they move a certain way. They'll move, like if it's left, right, or center, then I can tell if they're standing, sitting, kneeling. They show cue cards. Okay, the cue cards are a definite indicator for me.
Right.
And then there's this, I'm going to use the word expression, but it's not like you can see their expression, but it's this feeling, like a tingly sensation that goes over my body that tells me, yes, you're going the right way, or no, or someone's lying. Like sometimes, occasionally I'll hear, liar, liar. And it's like, whoa. And I'd like to say that when I hear it, I always challenge the person, but I'm sort of afraid of saying, hey, these people are saying you're lying.
Yes.
But with these kids, because that's how I look at them,
Yep.
it's the fear that translates more than anything else. The confusion, the idea, like, have you ever woke up in the morning and you're sort of, oh, wait a minute, where am I?
Yep.
Okay, and I don't mean when we're out on a drunken bender. I'm talking about some mornings you wake up and wonder where the hell or how the hell you got to bed.
Right.
It's like that. And so you dig a little deeper under that layer, or I do, I should say, to see what is it you're afraid of, what is it you're hiding from.
Well, are you seeing the person in with a flat background? And are they flat? Or are they, among trees? Or are they hanging in the air? What are they like when you see them?
Sometimes they look just like we do now. Other times, when they're trying to hide the pain, they are like a flat background because they don't want to put the emotions in. But by the first time I see them, I've already picked up on the emotions, so it's a little late.
Ah.
And sometimes they look just like cartoon characters. Like where they have the elongated leg, hole in the middle. And that's why I said, well, where did they get the holes from? Because I could see holes.
Yes, we didn't talk about that. So you think they were damaged in some way that was never revealed in our autopsies?
Yeah, but since you've mentioned that there is radiation on one person's clothing,
yep,
the holes could be the radiation poisoning.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So when you're trying to get someone who's speaking another language, though, and they're showing you cue cards, are the cue cards, do you mean then they've written English on the cue cards? What's on the cue card?
Well, originally they'll write in their language, but when they hold it up to me, Spirit has translated it so I can see it.
Okay, and when you say the Spirit, this is your guide to the other world.
My guides have translated it so I can understand it. But then sometimes if I still don't get what they mean, they start showing pictures.
Like photographs?
Yeah, let's say it's like a photograph.
And
like the tree, okay?
Yep.
When I saw your tree, but they showed me a tree and then they wrote pine.
Right.
It's like that. So they'll show me a tree and then they'll write something under it.
And are these cue cards coming into your mind in like are you seeing, let's say, a figure of a person and they're holding a little cue card, so it's like an index card, not very big, or are you actually getting the cue card like hugely shone into your head?
The cue card is like a whiteboard.
Oh, okay. So it's large.
Yeah, so I can actually see it.
Okay, and you trust your guides? Your spirit
not
guides?
all the time, but yeah, I do trust them.
Because they're the ones who are translating then, right?
Yes.
So what if they're fooling you?
They sort of know better because we've already had a discussion about putting me in the wrong path. And they also taught me, okay, I'll use an example.
Okay.
I was doing an investigation on a homicide.
All right.
And when I did the investigation, in my head, I saw the word driver. All right?
Okay.
And in the process, I made the motion of driving a big semi.
Okay.
Okay? So I thought the person they were looking for was a driver. That's how they took it as well.
Okay.
Later we found out, no, that wasn't the case, but the word was significant.
In what way?
It connected to the person who did the homicide.
Oh, so for example, not revealing anything, but that could have been their last name.
Last name, it could have been not just last name, but like, a driver, like a screwdriver.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yep.
The word driver was significant, but we had to elongate it. But I took it like everyone else did, that they meant driver, like truck driver.
Right. So that's where the interpretation is so tricky.
Yes.
And it must be, that's why I was thinking it must be even more tricky when it's another language and another culture.
It is, but they're children. And I don't know how to explain it, but most young adults under the age of 36 are open like a book.
Really? So
At least for me, not necessarily for everyone else.
Okay, so our 8 of our 9 victims were very young, and our 9th still in his 30s. They were, for you, open books.
They were open books.
Wow.
And part of the reason the book was so open is because of their fear.
And that just, what does that do? Just open everything up because you can't protect yourself in any other way? You can't think about anything else? You're just overrun and just let go kind of idea?
For myself, I as soon as I feel that fear, I'm able to put up a barrier, but what it does do is take a toll to the fact that it makes it really hard to hold my eyes open. My head sort of pounds a little. And I would also say that I go extremely cold because they were so cold. I actually have, like if you're in a freezer and you do that breath.
Yes.
See the breath.
Well, when you said you were bone weary cold, that really struck me. And I realized, again, as I've done in the past, you are really experiencing what these individuals went through. I'm just skipping along happily here listening to you.
Yes, I do experience. Normally, I can experience both the victim and the perpetrator.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I won't ask you to continue experiencing this stuff anymore. You've had enough. Thank you for exposing yourself to this kind of bone-weary cold and this level of panic and fear. And, this impending sense that you're not going to make it. That must be an awful thing to have to experience. So I appreciate that.
Oh, well, I'll have a little talk to all of them and help them move on later.
Oh, good. Well, please do that. I really appreciate that. And thanks, as always, for chatting to me. It's anytime I get a chance to chat to you, Darcy, I'm just delighted.
All right. Well, you have a fantastic night, and we'll talk again.
We will indeed. You have a good one, too. Thanks.
Okay. Cheers.
Yeah, cheerio.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed listening to Seeing Dead People. Whatever's going on in Darcy's head, I think is so cool and astonishing. We'd love to hear from you with questions for Darcy about her psychic process or suggestions for other mystifying situations you would like us to investigate. So please, shoot us an email to info@radiosidney.ca with Seeing Dead People in the subject line. New episodes of Seeing Dead People will emerge on the first Saturday of every month and will also be available every Saturday night at 8 p.m. and Sunday morning at 10 a.m., both Pacific Standard Time. Seeing Dead People will also be available as a downloadable podcast online at radiosidney.ca for your convenience. Cool news! Seeing Dead People is now a podcast on YouTube. Just search for Nicola Furlong Mysteries, and you will find 3 podcasts of videos dedicated to Seeing Dead People. One for our actual complete episodes, another for Darcy's fascinating answers to our listeners' questions about her psychic process, and a third with teasers highlighting each episode. Thanks so much for listening to Seeing Dead People. I really dig researching, writing, and communicating with Darcy and her otherworldly contacts. So until the next time, remember, Seeing Dead People is a blast with Goosebumps Guaranteed.
This has been a program of Radio Sydney.